Okay, nice to see you again, Miss Harper. Thank you for coming back again. This is a follow up from our session last week where we talked about the dynamics of your family and things in your family that maybe you feel like you wish you could control a little more. One of the things we talked about last week was your relationship between you and your children. So I want to drill into that a little deeper today. So could you tell me a little bit about the relationship between you and your children?
Well, I've been having a lot of trouble dealing with my 13-year-old son. He outbursts a lot. We have a lot of conflict, and just bickering back and forth. Feel like he disrespects me. He's rolling his eyes, and he knows it all at this point, and it's just hard to deal with at times.
So specifically, what does he do that feels disrespectful to you?
Just the yelling and screaming and over nothing. I'll ask him to do something and he's not paying attention to hear me, so he doesn't even follow through with what I'm trying to get the point across, and he just blows up and reacts without knowing what's even going on.
How many times per week or per day or per month does this happen?
I mean, I'd say daily.
Does it happen multiple times a day or just
Yeah.
once?
Yes.
Okay. And how bad is it when it goes on? Like, if you were to have to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate his outbursts?
I'd say his worst would be like an 8.
And when he's at an 8, what's he doing?
At that point, he's screaming and crying. He gets so mad he cries. And there's just no getting to him. You have to really just make it... I mean, you always have to yell and just tell him to be quiet, to listen to you. And once you get his attention and try to talk it through calmly, then, sometimes calm down and listen. But you have to get to the point of screaming back just to get him to listen.
What about physical aggression?
Not really. Now, there's points that he'll try to leave the room, and if I grab him on the shoulder or something and tell him to hold on, then he, pulls away or pushes me off just so that, he can get away from the situation.
But he's never actually been physically aggressive, like
No.
threatening to hit you or hitting you, things
No.
like that? Okay. And how about the verbal aggression? Is he verbally aggressive, or does he just cry and get mad?
I mean, he won't say anything condescending to me or about me, but just, yelling and screaming, and just, he feels disrespected a lot of what he says.
So typically when he does yell or scream, what's he say?
Trying to think of an example. Mainly just, I'm not listening to him or his opinion, or I'm not treating him like, I know he knows what he's doing.
Okay. And what's your response whenever that goes on?
Then I try to set him down and try to talk about it to find out, what's going on or why is there that miscommunication. But I have to get him to just stop, because as soon as I start talking, he interrupts me and is not listening at all.
Okay. Have you and him had any discussions about communication and why it breaks down to that point?
Not exactly.
Okay. What types of communication styles do you think you employ with him?
Well, I always try to start just talking calmly with him, but if it's gone on all day or if it keeps going on about the same thing, it just agitates me till I get to the point that I'm just going to yell about it too, because it just gets me aggravated.
So let me rephrase that just a little bit for you. When I'm talking about communication styles, I'm talking about, do you raise your voice? Do you lower your voice? Do you do different tones? Do you ever actually just like try not to talk to him during those stages, stuff like that?
I always try to start with just lowering my tone and talking slower and calmly.
Okay. And do you have other children in the household also?
I have a 6-year-old too, a little girl.
Does she exhibit any behaviors?
She does. When she doesn't get her way, or when she's asked to do something that she don't want to do, she cries or whines, or she's too sleepy and has to take a nap to try to get out of things.
And what do you do whenever she's doing those things?
Well, I mean, if she's doing the I'm sleepy, want to take a nap, I just tell her to go take a nap. That way she's not doing something that she wants to do. That's a sort of punishment, but at the same time, it's a reset for her. So once she gets that nap, she'll wake up in a better mood. But that's not always the case with her. I mean, if you ask her to help with chores or to pick up her room or something, she's always, "Oh, I'm too tired," or starts whining that she can't do it all by herself when she can. And she just has been like, I guess a lot of it, we help do stuff for her a lot.
What type of stuff do you help her with?
I mean, like, she will help with laundry and dishes and just straightening her room, putting clothes up, things like that.
So you're able to get her to do laundry and some basic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what stuff do you ask her to do that then she exhibits these behaviors?
The main thing is just picking up after herself, helping her brother fold laundry and put it up. She feels like she can't do it, which she can. She just needs to learn how, and I feel like it's important to teach even basic things like that to her, even at this young age. It's not fair for my son to do chores and she get out of everything.
Mm. And I'm going to digress just a little bit here. I'm going to back up to when you were a kid with your family. What was the structure like whenever you were, between 6 and 13 roughly, as far as how your family functioned with, basic chores and discipline and punishment, things like that?
I mean, we had to do chores too, and we were...
When you say we, who are you talking about?
My brother and I.
Okay.
And I had a mom and dad. And we were, they were together the whole time and still are. But we didn't have chores like we had to do something every day. But if, dishes need to be done and Mom asked us to do them, we did dishes. And ours was, I was bad about showing disrespect, mouthing off, things like that to my mom. But my dad had that come in and he could give you a look and you knew to stop it, kind of thing.
Did your parents give you discipline, or how did they get you to do the things that they wanted you to do?
Mine was often I was on the phone all the time, so I got phone privileges taken away, or I couldn't go to the movies or to the mall or things like that. So I had things taken away as well.
And how about when you were younger?
Like 6 and things like that. I mean, it was mainly go to your room kind of thing. I mean, if it was really, really bad, I'd get a spanking occasionally, but it wasn't a, common thing all the time or anything.
Okay. And now I'm going to come back into your present situation again. Is there a husband in the scenario?
Yes.
And how involved is he in the parenting?
We are, we talk about what we're going to do with the kids and try to stick to a plan. Right now he's working a lot and taking some classes and things, so he's not home as much as he used to be. So I am trying to, follow through with the discipline we've talked about, but sometimes I just get overwhelmed and it's easier to yell than it is to follow through with disciplines.
Yeah, I get it. It can be pretty tough when you've got somebody who's been in the situation, kind of out of the situation now. Have you seen a change in the children since this process started?
At first, it was a little more dramatic. My little girl was a little more separation anxiety kind of thing. And she wouldn't do stuff and cry wanting her daddy if, she didn't get her way. My son, he, I think, has shown a little more disrespect to me with Dad not being around as much. But when Daddy is, they are a little more well behaved.
And I understand that it can be really tough when someone's disrespecting you to kind of go through processes that are productive, I guess. What types of things would you like to try that would get, especially the son, since he's older and sounds like he's a little more aggressive in his attitudes? What kind of things would you like to implement that would maybe help you with this?
I mean, I want him to be able to do things that he wants to enjoy, and I want him to spend time with friends and things like that. I mean, I try to hold that as a standard of, I want him to be a well-rounded young man with manners, know how to actually do things when he gets older, like, washing dishes in his own clothes and things. So, I mean, I want him to feel comfortable and not feel like he's always being yelled at or disrespected. But I want him to grow into a young man, trying to...
Yeah, let me rephrase that question a little bit for you. What types of interactions are you attempting like that you would like to attempt? Because I know right now you're using you said that you're using the takeaway things, and you take away the favorite thing first, and then you move your way down, and that you do grounding and you do timeouts. Are there any other practices that you would like to try to implement that could help you maybe more with those behaviors?
I'm not actually sure because I'm not sure of other types of disciplines or what to try to implement at this point.
Okay, have you ever heard of discipline versus punishment?
Yeah.
And do you know the difference between those two?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because there can be negative feedback with, just punishment. He needs to have some positive reinforcement for the things.
Okay, so how do you think you could adjust what you're doing now and get those positive influences into it?
Well, I mean, I think that his positive attributes need to be brought forward a little more.
And what
so he
positive
feels,
attributes are those?
Well, I mean, when he does help out without even being asked, just to make sure that he feels like it's recognized. And then when he does do good, make sure he knows that he's done good and that he's, applauded for it, I guess would be a thing to say. But just make him feel like he's important.
What types of rewards do they get now mixed in with the punishments for doing things that they're asked to do?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's like, with my little girl, it's more of a little toy or something here and there if she's done something that she's, been asked to do, a big project or something like that. My son, at this point with grades and things, will give him a certain dollar amount for grades, and if he gets A's, he gets, a larger amount. He certain chores he gets paid for, and then, he likes buying game systems, video games, so he's saved up a lot of money from that and I think he respects his things more when he buys them himself. So I feel like that his is more of a money thing, when he does things.
Okay, well, Miss Harper, we're at the end of our session today. So next week, if you're wanting to talk about it, we'll go more into different types of reward structures you can use, and we'll dig a little deeper into your family relationship.
Okay,
thank
sounds
you.
good.